Hello, everyone. Hello, my name is Mama Alto. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the current CEO of Transgender Victoria. Before we begin tonight, I would like to begin by acknowledging the owners of the land and waters where we meet. Tonight, our live audience here in the room is at Bagunga Nyanjan, here on the lands of the Wurundjeri and Woiwurrung people. And Transgender Victoria has offices on Wurundjeri country and on Bunwurrung country, peoples of the Kulin nations. And our work takes place across the lands of various country and various peoples across the land now known as Victoria. We also acknowledge the lands of wherever you're joining us on your live stream tonight. In addition to acknowledging the owners of the land where I'm standing, on behalf of Transgender Victoria and everyone gathered here tonight, we pay our respects to elders past and present, as well as acknowledging emerging leaders and paying respects to country, culture and language, as well as any First Nations, Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people joining us today. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. So welcome to tonight's special event presented by Transgender Victoria, Yarra Libraries and the Ewing Trust, and with special guest speakers including the Victorian Commissioner for LGBTIQ+ Communities, Todd Fernando, award-winning theatre maker and poet Nikki Vevica, and Ricky Spencer, a proud trans First Nations person with lived experience of disability who is an eloquent, insightful and passionate advocate for our communities. We're here today to celebrate and observe Trans Day of Visibility, first initiated by activist Rachel Crandall in 2009. Trans Day of Visibility is a day of celebration, of awareness raising, of conversations and connections. We celebrate and recognise our lived experiences and our achievements, and we celebrate the role that visibility can play in creating better outcomes for trans and gender diverse people, the way visibility combats underrepresentation and isolation, and how using it we can dismantle the challenges and barriers that we face in feeling proud in our identities and feeling safe in our society. For a community that is too often underrepresented, discriminated against and stigmatised, Trans Day of Visibility is about reclaiming space and being visible on our own terms. The power of visibility cannot be denied. We often hear the phrase, if you can't see it, you can't be it. For me, growing up in the suburbs as a queer brown child trying to figure out who I was and what kind of future was even possible for someone like me, the visibility of our trans and gender diverse communities was quite literally the beacon which made the difference between life and death. Through days like Trans Day of Visibility, through seeing each other thrive and flourish, through celebrating who we are and celebrating how far we've come, we strengthen each other. We give sustenance to our hearts and spirits that are so often trampled down by the discriminations and stigmas that we face as trans and gender diverse people. Visibility can be a wonderful thing, but visibility can also be fraught, dangerous and difficult. For some of our community members, it's simply not possible or safe to be visible. So it's up to those of us with the relative privileges of visibility to keep working towards a better world where all trans and gender diverse people can be safe, loved, included and celebrated. Whilst the past few decades have seen vast improvements for our trans and gender diverse communities, there's still so much more work to be done so that we can all belong with safety, pride and equity. Visibility is an important part of that, both for celebrating who we are and where we've come from, but also to build a brighter future. So in the spirit of Trans Day of Visibility, let's all continue to create that better world and that brighter tomorrow. Before I introduce you to our next speaker, I also want to briefly let you know more about Transgender Victoria. Transgender Victoria, also known as TGV, is Victoria's leading body for trans and gender diverse people. We work to achieve justice, equity and inclusion for trans and gender diverse people and our partners, families, friends, communities and allies. We do this through training, consultancy, advocacy, connection, capacity building, peer support and celebration. And in doing so, we look to achieve better social, economic, health, well-being and mental health outcomes for our communities who are too often left behind. You can support our work by hiring us for any of those services, as well as by becoming a member, a volunteer or donating at tgv.org.au. And for those of you joining us here in the room tonight, we also have donations and merchandise up at the back of the room with our friendly staff and volunteers. So to conclude, thank you for celebrating and observing Trans Day of Visibility. May it not only be a celebration, but also a reminder of the work still to be done and the power that many of us can hold and give to each other to do that work. Thank you. Before I introduce the Commissioner to speak to you about this important day, I'm going to welcome a representative from Yarra Libraries who are hosting us today and who have put so much time, energy and resources into hosting many Transgender Victoria events, including tonight in this beautiful venue. So please welcome to talk to you about Yarra Libraries and the Ewing Trust, Kira Bayfield.
Hello all, and thank you for coming tonight to this special event celebrating Trans Day of Visibility. On behalf of Yarra Libraries and everyone involved in the event tonight, I'd like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri as the traditional owners of this country, pay tribute to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people in Yarra, and give respect to the elders past and present. My name is Kira Bayfield, and I accept all pronouns, and I am from Community Engagement and Programs at Yarra Libraries. This event is brought to you by the Ewing Trust, which is a fund that allows the development and presentation of a range of events and projects that promote Fitzroy as a centre of the arts, literature, cultural heritage and lifelong learning. This event is also brought to you by Yarra Libraries. We have libraries in Fitzroy, Collingwood, Richmond, Carlton and here at Bagunganunyan in North Fitzroy. Please pick up one of our What's On guides at the door, fresh off the press. And if you wish to become a Yarra Libraries member, please go to our website or approach one of our wonderful staff members at the service desk at any of our library locations. We also have some wonderful clothing from Thread Together just outside on the balcony. I'm sorry to everyone in the live stream, that one's not available to you. It's free and you're saving it from landfill, so please go out and have a browse. We are so happy to partner with Mama Alto and Transgender Victoria again. We love working with you, as well as the Commissioner for LGBTQI+ communities, Todd Fernando, and from the Victorian Government. And we would also like to acknowledge and welcome the Mayor, Sophie Wade, and Councillor Edward Crossland to this wonderful evening celebrating our trans community. Thank you. Back to you, Mama.
Thank you, Kira. And again, we're so grateful for our collaborations with Yarra and all of the wonderful venues and staff and resources here. So now it's my great pleasure to introduce our first guest speaker for the evening. This is a person who I've gotten to know and who works so tirelessly for our communities. Please join me in welcoming the Victorian Commissioner for LGBTIQ+ communities, Todd Fernando.
Good evening, everybody, and those on the live stream. For those that I've yet to meet, my name is Todd Fernando. I'm a descendant of the Kalari peoples of the Wiradjuri Nation, which is now known as Central New South Wales. I identify as queer with pronouns he, him. And I have the pleasure of being the Victorian Commissioner for LGBTIQ+ communities. I want to acknowledge here that we're meeting on the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation and pay my respects to their ancestors past, present and emerging, and offer that same respects to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people joining us here today and on the live stream. I'd also like to acknowledge that we're gathered here today on Trans Day of Visibility, the annual international celebration of trans pride and awareness, to recognise and celebrate trans and gender-diverse experiences and achievements. It's not often I have to do this, Mama. No blame. This day was first established in 2009, as Mama said, when Rachel Crandell felt frustrated that the only well-known day for trans people was the Transgender Day of Remembrance, which falls on the 20th of November. While it's hugely important that we mourn that we mourn our losses, it's also important that we acknowledge and celebrate those still living in our trans and gender diverse communities. For a long time, trans and gender diverse people have stood their grounds from the margins. Throughout my life and through so many conversations that I've had with trans and gender diverse people, with brother boys and sister girls particularly, they've helped me understand what it means for me to be me. Brother boys and sister girls have had to endure some of the harshest impacts of colonialism. They've had to minimise, hide and devalue their identities and visibilities in, around and through a system of colonial oppression. This same system has tried to keep all of us in our place, this same system has tried to keep us all in our place as LGBTIQ plus people, despite our desires to flourish. But the growth of the visibility on days like this allows us to be part of the journey of change and transformation, to understand the concepts of gender that have been produced through since time immemorial and into the future as well. I say this because I believe that the voices of trans and gender diverse people continue to hold and safeguard that knowledge and the practices of authenticity and authentic affirmation. So it confirms to me that you are the keepers of our truth. I believe that this practice also shows a link and a commonality between the movements that centre the narratives and experiences of First Nations people and trans and gender diverse communities. This commonality, I think, is our shared understanding of facing these systems of oppression that continue to keep us in our place because of the power we hold in performing who we truly are. Trans Day of Visibility encourages opportunities for us cis people to unlearn these strict and rigid ideas of gender that have been embedded in our current cultural system. This day was first, while it's hugely important, sorry, my computer's just... there we go. So in doing so, what's going on? Okay, so in doing so, we must put to rest to any idea that TGD communities are a homogenous group, because we know that they're not. And we see the intersectionality in all of trans people. Those trans and gender diverse people, those of colour, from all ages, with different abilities, who hold various degrees of disadvantage and growing privilege, live a wide variety of lives. As if the world pandemic wasn't enough, TGD communities also found themselves being put at risk once again by the federal government, as the validity of their existence was once again unnecessarily the subject of public debate in the political arenas. We are part of a global community here in Victoria, and sadly, whenever trans and gender diverse or non-binary communities endure these attacks, whether it's in the US, the UK, South America, or Southeast Asia, we all suffer from those attacks. It's the downside of visibility. It's not bad enough to have to deal with the transphobia in our own countries, but social media bleeds gross misinformation from other countries into our social feeds as well. When I see those who challenge and attack trans, gender diverse or non-binary people, I see a fear of difference and their narrow understanding of their cis, unauthentic world being threatened. But I think they're intimidated by the resilience and the many strengths of trans, gender diverse and non-binary people. But one of the many upsides of trans visibility is no matter the persistent, awful hatred, our TGD people are still living lives worth celebrating. In my role as Commissioner, what is vitally important for me is to continually sit and be advised by all the trans and gender diverse communities on where it is that we need to go. My aim in my role as Commissioner is very simple: to build a Victoria that is the safest and most protected place for LGBTIQ plus people, not only in Australia, but the world. We unite in our desire to uplift visibility and to transform our communities. Across our LGBTIQ plus communities, I see our TGD people modelling the best approaches to our work and live lives fabulous, just like the rest of us. My friends, we need your visibility so that everyone can see just how fabulous you are. That's why tonight I'm happy to share that on Trans Day of Visibility, the Victorian Government has announced a $2 million investment into TGV. This investment will keep the lights on for the next 4 years and support the critical work of the organisation. This investment affirms that the Victorian Government is committed to the success, strength and vision of TGV and trans and gender diverse Victorians. To you, our trans and gender diverse community, we see you, we hear you, we support you. As your Commissioner, I see you and I see your achievements and your courage. Thank you.
Thank you to Commissioner Todd Fernando. And Transgender Victoria is immensely grateful for this great investment into our communities. And as the current CEO, I also want to assure everyone that we will be bringing all of our community with us on that journey. I'm very excited now to introduce to you our first performance of the night. This is an award-winning, highly acclaimed theatre maker, multidisciplinary artist and poet. And her words to me so beautifully and vulnerably communicate the nuances of the trans experience. So I hope that you get, on this Trans Day of Visibility, from her words, the same kind of complexities, grey areas, joys and sorrows, triumphs and pathos that I have been able to experience so many times seeing this amazing artist's work. Please welcome Nikki Vevica.
Hi everyone, I'm Nikki. I'm going to start with my poem called Origin Story. Does this mic come off? Oh, I might not play with that. I'll get myself in trouble. I get myself in trouble with mic cords all the time. Oh. Trans people always making trouble. Always making trouble. This is my poem called Origin Story. My goddess was born of the sea foam, fully formed and fabulous, a woman from her first breath. This is how I'd like you to think of me as well, as if I just magically appeared through sheer force of beauty. Ta-da! Don't ask about my childhood. I was barely in it. My adolescence, I threw it back. If you want to know how I came to be, look to the spray and the surge of the sea, every wave a rebirth, which carries no history. I think all of us are feeling like, wouldn't it be great if we all just had sparkled into existence tonight? The last couple of years didn't happen, we just magically turned up here because the universe needed us to witness all the fabulousness in the room. Of course, the universe doesn't do that. We are relentlessly defined, whether that's with words or with numbers. Here's my poem about that. It's called Numbers. These are the numbers that make up me. These are my ones, my twos, my threes. I am a BMI, which I'm told is too high. And an IQ, which I'm told is wasted, on an income bracket that is far too low, and a welfare number which I know by heart. There are no numbers in my art. I work in words and emotion, and strategic reveals of my body's parts. I am a height which is considered tall for a girl, a waist too large, a bust too small. I'm a certain age. Shh, don't tell. I'm a birthday kept down on the DL. I'm figures that are getting hard to cast. I'm a running down clock, not an hourglass. And these are the numbers that tell my score, my 101, my 404. In the eyes of any passing men, I'm a given number out of 10, not high enough for them to look again, and on a bad day, low enough that they laugh. I'm calendar days, ticking off too fast. I'm a street number where you can sometimes find me. I'm digits, which you can call to remind me that my bill payments are slipping behindly. Leave a message, thank you kindly. I'm a large number of unheard messages. I'm a secret pin, you better not look. I'm the accruing fine on that overdue book. I'm expiry dates on a dozen cards and a long gone date stamped on my heart. And these are the numbers that make up me. My pi to 10, my square root of 3. I'm October 12. I'm the 14th of May. I'm all this significance attached to random days. I'm mathematical chaos, babe, and I'm statistically likely to be in your way. I'm white with one. There you go, ma'am. I'm 1,300 followers on Instagram. I'm daily doses in milligrams. These numbers which make me who I am. I am the remainder after love has been subtracted. I'm a fraction of a family divided. I'm a late addition to an irrational nation. I'm the value for x that wrecks your equation. I'm not eligible for multiplication. And these are the numbers that define my station. My zeros, my zeros, my zeros. These are the numbers that make up me, my zeros. I probably shouldn't have mentioned the overdue book here like in the... I think Yarra Library still have a price on my head from a Trinity and Susanna book, which I got out when Trinity and Susanna were a thing. I don't want to even think about what the fine on that is now. Moving on, distraction. Here's another poem. This is just a short love poem I'd like to do. It's I don't know if it's a particularly trans poem, but it is from one trans person to another gender diverse person. So there's that. Let us be birds. I'll turn my sadness into nightingale song. Then people will listen to me whinge all night long, and I'll call it beautiful. You can be an owl and hunt me. Or if that sounds too much like a dream, born from Eurocentric literature, from too many nights breathing Juliet's lines at the mirror, imagining, what if young Leonardo, but a lesbian? Then okay, I'll do slam poetry as a Rosella, and you can do Glitterbeard drag king lip sync as a lorikeet. Let's be sparrows or gulls or geese. Let's just get away from the ground and all its greed for bodies, bodies, bodies. Let's be birds. We could have a little meet cute on a wire, like our wingtips could subtly touch, while we chirp about why all the humans are suddenly staying inside. Let's be birds that shine fluorescent in each other's secret light. Don't you see that dreaming is where the power of flight begins? Didn't you hear that the dinosaurs wished on a shooting star for wings? Hold out your hand at curfew time. 4 radii away, I'll hold out mine. Stare at our hands together until the quills start to break through the skin, aching for the sky. That's, thanks. It's a poem about yearning, which is an emotion a lot of trans people know a lot about. So now I'm going to come to my main poem about the trans experience, which is one you've probably been waiting for. It is called A Transgender ABC. And this is a transition journey from A to Z. A is for That's the bit at the beginning where you're in the closet. B is for bleh. Yeah, you're still in the closet for that, but you didn't think you'd get out that quickly, did you? Oh no. Oh no. You're going to be here for a while. So C is for content warning. Because you're going to get pretty sad about it. Going to mark all the years of secrecy, the way a prisoner carves scratches on the walls of their cell. But D is for dreams. It's for those fabulous hours of sleep where you get to be yourself, feminine and free. E is for estrogen. except not yet. Right now, E is for extremely long wait, because F is for fear. G is for the girlfriend who you love, but with whom it just never feels quite right. It's for the gay club where you go and just feel out of place all night. It's for the gym with which you destroy your body and the djinn with which you nullify your mind, and for the God who will not answer your prayers. H is for the horror show your body becomes day by day. The hair. The hair. The hair. I is for introspection. You've got to sort some stuff out. I is for investigation. You've got to look some stuff up. I is for isolation. You've got to do all that hard stuff alone. J is for just jokes, anytime you've accidentally given yourself away. K is for the kicking that your ass gets given anyway. K for the knuckles which they use to scour the prettiness from your face. K, careless girl, is for know your place. So L is for low profile. Let no one know. L for a lifetime sentence to losing hope. M is for I can't even say the word. It's M's for, I've got to make this work somehow. And then N is for not. N is for no more. N is for not impossible. N is for never too late. And one day N is for now. O is for estrogen. Yeah, because that's how we spell it in Australia. Like, we could have got there earlier, but because of the way Australia is, we had to go through half the bloody alphabet. But anyway, we got there, and O is for estrogen, P is for pride, Q is for queer community, R is for the rainbow flag of your people, S is for supportive friends, and T is for trans is beautiful. And U is for unbelievable relief. It's for unbeatable joy and underwhelming response from family. But who cares? Because it's for unreal. V is for vagina. But V is also for very expensive. But W is for womanhood, which isn't determined by any part of your body or by a letter on a piece of paper, but by your heart. X is for, I don't know. What do you want X to be for? It can be for C's pronouns, if you like. You get to choose now, because Y is for you. Finally, something is for you. Now, Z is for Zzz, because this has been one hell of a journey, and girl, you have earned a nap. Thank you, everyone. I'm Nikki Vivica. This has been a real pleasure. I'll give you back to Mama now.
Thank you, the amazing Nikki Vivica. I'm really thrilled to introduce our next speaker, who is an incredible activist and advocate, not only for the trans and gender diverse communities, but for so many intersections, for so many different marginalised people, of which this incredible advocate is a member of so many communities, but is so fearless in speaking out to make sure that visibility is never lost. Please welcome Ricky Spencer.
Hi everyone, thank you. I thought about today, and last night I wasn't sleeping much. I was sort of thinking, what am I going to say today? Because I didn't want this to be about me. I wanted this to be for all of you. It's a day when many of us finally say no to being bullied, to being ignored, to being hit. I want to read you out something that comes from my heart, and it's a letter I kind of wrote to my birth mother. I'm from the stolen generation. I was never told of my beautiful Indigenous heritage till I was in my late 40s. And it's been, when one transitions at a later age and they find out these other compelling aspects of your life, you begin to wonder, who am I really? Where do I really belong? And has my whole life been a lie? So I'm going to share this piece that I wrote and I delivered at Black and Bright. And I hope I won't cry, but I hope that you'll get something from it. I have spent most of my life living in the shadows of fear, looking over my shoulder as to who will attack me for just being Ricky. I am one of those people you may encounter, living next door, shopping at your local supermarket, using an ATM or sitting next to you on a bus. However, you will not see me in your child's classroom. Although I am a qualified teacher, an open, transgender, non-binary woman of the stolen generation, 53 with disabilities, I am not welcomed with open arms in private school settings or public school spaces. I had applied for more than 52 positions and have given up on trying to be your next exceptional teacher at your child's school. Every time I would go into an interview panel, I am confronted by the stares of heteronormative shadows of white privilege. My words get eaten up by your monotone, one-word polite responses. I feel your disgust embedded through your icy cold stares, and like an unwanted book, I am withdrawn from your gaze into the discarded pile, never to be looked upon. I wonder if perhaps my birth mother had experienced this same feeling of being thrown out like trash. When she held me in her arms, my heavy heart weeps for her and I. Light shades of skin are all I am to you. My tears are the same as yours, but I have no connection to my past or present. I only live for an uncertain future. I am here, an enigma, no gender or place, just a moment of space. That you are polite to not physically interject me. My mirror blinds the reflections of shades. I wish I had been born with my ancestors' darker tones. Nana, why didn't you try and find me? I kept running away as a child, but could never find you. I would stop at the end of the street and cry out, "Did you not hear me? Did you not wish that you could find me?" I still have the haunting image of a young, darker woman sitting there in a clinical room. Is that real? Was I there? Did you have to make them give me away? Could you not have tried harder? It's now many summers since 1968. Maybe I'm too problematic for you to look at, but you may have a child or relative who does not identify with their assigned gender at birth, and perhaps who is struggling to deal with their identity. Perhaps they are also from the light shades of First Nations. Is being transgender in our classrooms as a teacher or a student so problematic for you that you want to exclude us? I still love you, Nana. I'm still running. Perhaps the shadows in my dream are leading me to our meeting place on country. One day, when our mortal colonial segments of space evaporate, our spirits will intertwine back, and we flow back down the river near the mangrove trees, and the turtle will lay her eggs. And she will not be tricked by the crocodile smiles. For you, my mum, my Nana, will hold me and never let me go, and I will never let you go. And I wanted to share that with everyone today because I think we sometimes forget that Transgender Visibility Day is more than just a day. For some of us, it's our combination of lived experiences and intersectionalities that we bring to us. And this is for everybody out there. This is for the young child who's 5 or 6, who may not have a space or place to feel safe for themselves, that one day your time will come and you will shine. And what I would want every single person listening today to do is to please have your voice be heard. If you are an ally, stand with us. And as we stand with you, speak with us, not for us, and love us the way we love you. Thank you.
Thank you to the incredible Ricky Spencer. Now, the next part of our presentation today as part of this special event for Trans Day of Visibility is going to be a video, and this is an incredible video presentation that was put together during some of the worst times of our lockdowns here in Birrarunga Naarm, Melbourne, by the incredibly dedicated Yarra Libraries team. And this is a beautiful video. It does make me cry most times when I watch it, and it gathers together different Yarra community members and staff members to talk about why visibility matters and what it's like to be a trans person and how visibility can create that change that we need in the world. So hopefully, if everything's working with our incredible technicians Tim and Dan, in a minute you'll see this wonderful video pop up from the team at Yarra Libraries.
My name is Castiel. I'm a library officer at Yarra Libraries and a trans individual. I use he or they pronouns.
Hi, my name is Nick and my pronouns are they, them.
My name's Mama Alto and my pronouns are she and hers.
I'm Adelaide, my pronouns are she, her.
My name is Amal Leotalu. My pronouns are she, her, goddess and diva.
My name is Kip and my pronouns are he, him.
Trans Day Visibility that's a big question.
To me, Trans Day of Visibility is a very important day. It's a day where we can celebrate and empower all of our communities who are trans and gender diverse.
Celebrating our creativity, our brilliance.
Part of it, I guess, is visibility and awareness of the trans community. When I first came out, I think about 5 years ago, I didn't even really know trans people existed, and so it taken me quite a few years to sort of figure out that's what I was.
This is a day about celebrating the talented and wonderful things that trans people and gender diverse people can do.
I see it as a day of reflection and acknowledging some of our past histories, which for some of us have been quite challenging, that we find ways to navigate our journeys in the hope that for all of us that there's something great that comes for community.
Trans Day of Visibility is basically what it says on the tin. It's celebrating the fact that we exist and that we are allowing ourselves to exist and being proud of ourselves, because often it's a very long road until that can happen.
It's also a day where we get to really just own our beauty, our power, our togetherness, because visibility can be a double-edged sword. It can actually be quite perilous and dangerous to be visible.
Not every workplace is supportive and inclusive, but I'm sort of the opinion, like, whenever I apply for interviews, I always put my pronouns and make it aware, because I figure if someone's going to discriminate, I don't want to be associated with them.
It's about the community coming together and celebrating, but also creating a world that's safe for everyone to be visible as they like. Safety to me looks like people being able to wear what they want when they go out without worrying about strangers' reactions. It looks like people being unafraid to be unapologetically themselves.
Well, definitely being out and loud and proud, or any way you feel comfortable to be.
Safety also means that you can be in conversation with someone and not have to be preoccupied or worried that that person's going to ask you an inappropriate question or misgender you blatantly or subtly.
A lot of people are like, I don't want to use they, them pronouns, it's not what we normally use. But I sort of figure, like, if someone asks you to call them a particular name or particular pronouns, like, there's no reason not to, even if it's not a real word. Like, it's just about respect. Like, if someone had like a childhood nickname that they were bullied with and they asked you not to call it, you wouldn't call them that.
Having accessible bathrooms, having the ability to take leave for medical reasons that might be different from our cisgender counterparts. Having that support in place if anything does happen, knowing that we have people that will listen to us and take things seriously.
Training for staff and awareness of what things are and aren't okay to ask.
As long as what someone does and who they feel they are doesn't harm anybody else, we should all be able to come to a place where we not only tolerate each other, but embrace and celebrate each other.
Yarra is really good because we have quite a few trans people working here. It's the first workplace I've had where there are other people that have similar experiences like that to me.
So some of the things people can do in the workplace that make me feel welcome is ask my pronouns when they first meet me. My name is kept on my badge, but say I hadn't had the opportunity to change it yet, I think for other people it could be like, and what name do you use? What pronouns do you use? And I think if we ask everyone that, not just our cis, not just our trans staff members, if it's just a general thing we do for everybody, it makes it more inclusive.
Oftentimes, the ID doesn't match the person.
You know, everyone wearing pronoun badges or introducing their pronouns when they meet someone new helps create that safety.
Allies get it about doing research about trans people, trans community, that we're not having to do all the work.
A great ally should, be aware that, you know, there are ways to educate themselves that don't involve asking people directly.
We have to think about where curiosity turns into discomfort, turns into distress.
There are definitely some things that should be just Googled first.
You can be very well intentioned, but it's all about impact.
Sometimes talking about these things can make people who aren't trans very uncomfortable, but I want everyone to feel empowered, to know themselves, and to know that there are as many ways of experiencing gender and experiencing who we are in the world as there are individual human beings on this planet. And that's a beautiful thing.
It's not like we woke up one day and went, all right, so I'm trans, and all right, the checklist.
We don't fit into one box. That's why when you see there's all these labels and it seems overwhelming to some people, there's all these different words and you're like, why do we need so many words? But it's just a way for people to describe and relate to others like them.
There's a lot of trans people, there's a lot of queer people that work here, and we all present really differently.
We're just other people that maybe experience the world a little bit differently to most people. But yeah, we're still, you know, skilled, talented, amazing people.
Queer people and trans people are everywhere. They are part of every community, no matter what, and they are always going to be part of every community, which is wonderful.
I think we're moving from just acceptance to actually celebrating the fact that diversity is brilliant and it makes workplaces and cultures better.
A lot of people think that transness is about trying to be more special than everyone else. Actually, it's about recognising that every single human being on the planet is unique and beautiful and special and important.
The theme for 2021 is Be Seen, See Me.
The idea of being seen is a very emotional thing. For so long, trans and gender diverse people have had to hide our identities or be told to be ashamed or be told that we weren't meaningful parts of society or told that we didn't even exist. And so to be seen is very validating.
Presenting who you are and loving who you are and showing that confidence to everyone and demanding people's attention and not cowering from any fear of judgment or anything takes guts and it takes a lot of work. To be able to say that phrase is a mark of achievement. It's a milestone.
Once we're seen, then we can form communities and friendships and love each other better, because once you know somebody, you can love them.
Be seen, see me.
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 We couldn't resist sharing that video with you again tonight. You might have seen it over social media, but so many important and wonderful messages in there. So tonight at this special event celebrating Trans Day of Visibility, we've heard from lots of different people live in the room and through that wonderful video of what different experiences of trans lives hold and how diverse our experiences of visibility can be. Visibility is so important because it allows us to celebrate, connect and come together, but can also be very difficult and very dangerous because it can lead to the attacks on who we are as people. Sticking out isn't always possible. Looking around this room and seeing so many beautiful trans and gender diverse faces, so many queer faces and the faces of so many allies who are standing alongside us is immensely powerful. But for anyone here tonight, and for anyone particularly who is listening in on the live stream, and particularly I can see in my mind's eye the people who are watching this live stream not live, but later on, finding it on Facebook, watching it in secret, watching it maybe on their phone while they're at work, away from their family members, or finding some private time somewhere to watch it on a phone or a computer, to try and figure out who they are, who have turned to the internet maybe to find out, who am I? Am I okay? I'm just wrapping up here. For the people on the live stream, we've just had the building closing announcement. I'm thinking particularly, we're not closing, the library downstairs is closing. But how wonderful to live in a cosmopolitan city where a library is still open at this time in the evening. So I'm thinking particularly of those who are watching online and maybe watching this later, maybe even years later, turning to the internet to help find out who they are as one of the only safe spaces for some people. For many people in our communities, visibility isn't safe or possible. And that is why Trans Day of Visibility is important. It's not just about having a party and being visible. It's about the very possibility of visibility and about the work that we need to do, particularly if we're in positions of privilege where we can be visible and where we might be allies to the trans and gender diverse community. The work we can do to make sure that the potential of visibility is an option for everybody, if they so choose. So for those who aren't safe yet to be visible, we are here and we are working for that beautiful day when it will be safe for all of us to be proud and visible. And I want all of you, trans and gender diverse and queer people listening today and in the room, to think about the first time that you saw someone else who was trans or gender diverse or queer and living their best life. And you thought, wow, I want to be like that. For many of us, that's a common experience. If it's an experience you haven't had yet, there's been an amazing range of beautiful speakers on the video and on the stage tonight, and you can think of them for this exercise. So as you think of that experience of seeing someone loud and proud and living their truth and thinking, wow, I want to be like that, I want to tell you that if you have been able to be visible in your life, you have probably been that person many times to someone else and you might not even know it. And if you haven't been able to be safely visible yet, one day your time will come and you will be that person, that beacon to someone else. Happy Trans Day of Visibility, and thank you all for attending this special event with Transgender Victoria, Yarra Libraries and the Ewing Trust. Thank you. And to our live stream audience, that is where we leave you tonight. Unfortunately, we cannot hand you a drink or a refreshment, but we leave our live stream audience. Thank you so much. And you can, of course, watch this back on the Yarra Libraries or Transgender Facebook page, Transgender Victoria Facebook page. Thank you so much to our live stream audience, and we're wishing you good night.